In this short video, the emphasis I'm putting is on the family and family discussions. This book I have written, Tell Me Everything Granddad Please and Tell Me Everything Grandma Please. I believe very much in the family, in the passing down of family stories, family legends and family values. This book may be used as a discussion book with older members of the family, of getting the family together and having a chat. I have sold many of these books, and the feedback I have received with people stopping me in the street, people calling me up in tears saying I have learned so much about my family that I didn't know simply because mum or dad had this book in their hands, which got them starting, thinking, brought back memories, brought back emotions, brought back, the senses became fired up. And so it is a passion of mine that every family has some record of their life, and this is the generation to do it. This book, it goes right back from when the family first came to Australia or whether they were original Australians. And there's one for Grandma and one for Granddad. The drawings are done locally by a local artist, Glenda Osterland. The poetry by a local poet and actor, Catherine Jennings. So it is all, the paper is archival and the book is stitched, not glued. So the integrity is in the production, and the words and the intent and the emotion is very much within these pages, so that you can get down on paper by the way of drawings, photos, illustrations, cutouts, whatever, to preserve your family's history. And what fun it is to do it with the kids as well, and to just listen to your parents, to see their faces light up, to smile as they recall something. Did you know your grandparents? Oh, it starts off with, tell me where your family came from, Grandma. Grandma, tell me about your ancestors. Were they original Australians? If so, which part of Australia were they from? Were they new Australians? How did they come to Australia? Who came? When? Do you have any stories or family legends? Do you know what life was like for them? Tell me everything, Grandma, please. And then, did you know your grandparents? Sometimes they may have heard a story, but they may not have known them. Perhaps they did. It depends on the age, obviously, of your grandparents. Did you know your birth parents, Grandma? I'm talking about the Grandma book here, but the Granddad book mirrors it with a few slightly different things. Tell me about your mum, please, Grandma. And tell me about your dad. What about your dad, Grandma? What do you know about his growing up? Where did he grow up? What was his house like? Did he like sport? Have any hobbies? Where did he work? Was he involved in the war in his home country or on a battlefield? Tell me a story about your dad, please, Grandma. Please tell me about your mum and dad. Did they get married? If so, where? Did they have a honeymoon? Were there any wars or natural disasters that affected them? How many children did they have? Where did you fit in, Grandma? Did your mum tell you what it was like having babies back then? What values did they hold dear and teach you, Grandma? Again, the emphasis on the family and learning about what came before. Where were you born? Did you know anything about your birth, your size, your time of birth, a bottle or breastfed? What is your first memory? And so on. It goes through growing up. And what was it like growing up where you were? And what was your house like? What was your bedroom like? What were your favourite foods? What were you like? Did you like cooking, or did you like to play outside? Were you a tomboy, or were you a girly girl? What was your favourite recipe? Did you help in the house? Did you have chores to do? What toys did you have? What was your favourite toy? Your favourite radio or TV programs? I've heard about skipping rhymes. What skipping rhymes did you have? Knucklebones, fiddlesticks. Did you like to read, or did you like sport? Talk to me about your primary school, Grandma. What were your desks like? What did it smell like? What did it smell like in your classroom? What did they use for heating? What was the floor? What was the floor? Did you have sewing and manual? Did you have cooking? Did you have religious instruction? What were the books like that you wrote in? But talk to me about your secondary school. Talk to me about your family. Did you have any family traditions that you did at Christmas time or Easter time or family holidays? Things that your family did together. When did you leave school? Did you go on to school, on to university or to TAFE or to further education? Or did you leave school and get a job? What was your first job? What was it like being a teenager back then? What was your music like? How did you listen to the music? Transistor, 8-track. What were the flicks? Tell me about your friends. What did you do for fun? Talk to me about your teenage years. Your first car, your first job, how much you got paid. And then it goes on to meeting her husband, Grandad, and what that was like, and whether they got married or if they got married or not, how many children they had, where their parent fitted into the family. How did they feel when they found out they were going to be a dad for the first time or a mum for the first time? What emotions went through their body? Then what was it like meeting their granddad, their dad or their mum? How did they feel? Did they feel protective of their daughter? Or were they happy to embrace this new person? Did they like him? How did it work? And once we've gone through the family and the feelings and the emotions and the food and the places we went and the things that we did, we then go on to what was the most amazing or happiest things that you have done in your life. This is more about opinions and questions. What makes you happy, Grandma? Who did you look up to as you were growing up? How have other people influenced your life, good and bad? What are the biggest changes you have seen in the world in your life, Grandma? What do you like most about the modern world? What do you like least? What do you miss most about the olden days? And what are you glad has gone forever? Tell me how Australia has changed, Grandma, in your life. What part of your life was the happiest? And do you have any advice for me, Grandma? And thank you, Grandma. One last thing. What do you wish most for the future of the world and for my future? And then have you got more to tell? And then finish off just a few activities and think just a few words to jog memories. Favourite foods, lettuce and sugar, bread and butter pudding, trifle, brandy snaps, sago pudding, etc. Home, clothesline, copper, washing machine, aprons, wood stove, wood heap, collecting mallee roots for firewood, and things like that. The clothes, community, childhood, pom-pom making, billy cart, marbles, fiddlesticks, rabbit trapping, tree cubby, cigarette packets on bike spokes, and so on. All these words will evoke memory. And then we go on for fun, an Aussie slang dictionary. And your family may think of some more words to add, or maybe just recalling these words will again spark language and memories.